ॐ अस्य श्री चण्डी कवचस्य ब्रह्मा ऋषिः अनुष्ठुप् छन्दः चामुण्डा देवता अङ्गन्यासोक्तमातरो बीजम् दिग्बन्धदेवतास्तत्त्वम् श्रीजगदम्बा प्रीत्यर्थे सप्तशती पाठाङ्गत्वेन जपे विनियोगः। ॐ नमश्चण्डिकायै। मार्कण्डेय उवाच।
The Devi Mahatmya, also known as the Durga Saptashati or Sri Sri Chandi Path, is a sacred religious scripture that describes the glory and grandeur of the Divine Mother. The Devi Mahatmya comprises 13 chapters containing a total of 700 verses. As stated by our Divine Master, every verse of this text is a dynamic force which acts powerfully in overhauling the nature of man. Gurudev also said that mantras of the Saptashati are not to be neglected by one who wishes to lead a good and peaceful life in this world. A description of the 13 chapters. The first chapter of the Mahatmyam describes the glory of Mahakali. Chapter 2, 3 and 4 glorify Mahalakshmi, while chapter 5 to 13, which are the last 9 chapters of this holy scripture, describes the glory and greatness of Mahasaraswati. He who reads the Sri Sri Chandi with faith and devotion attains wealth, long life and salvation. How to read the Sri Sri Chandi Path? As per Swami Shivananda's book called Devi Mahatmya, the following instructions are provided for reading the Sri Sri Chandi. In the morning, after taking a bath and finishing one's daily puja, one should sit facing north or east. The mind should be concentrated and full of bhakti. The Sri Sri Chandi should then be read with firm faith, devotion and correct pronunciation. During the time of reading, one should not talk, think, sneeze, yawn or spit, but read with full concentration. One must not stop in the middle of a chapter. It is recommended that the book be kept on a stand. At the beginning and end of each chapter, bells are to be rung. Before reading, it is necessary to do the Sankalpa, which is a vow or oath one takes for undertaking this prayer, and then Sri Devi Puja. As recommended by Sri Gurudev, the reading should be performed in the following order. The first reading or recitation is of the Devi Suktam. This is followed by the Devi Kavajam. Next is the Argala Stotram. The recitation of the Kilakam and Ratri Suktam then follows. One then begins the recitation of the Devi Mahatmyam, the Pala Shruti, and finally the Kshama Prarthana is the last prayer recited. Devi Suktam. It comprises 8 slokas from the Rig Veda, composed by Vak, daughter of Maharishi Ambaran. This Suktam is a proclamation by the Devi of her own power, glory, pervasiveness and actions. It is known as a gateway to the Durga Saptashati. Let us now hear one verse of the Devi Suktam.
मयासो अन्नमत्ति यो विपश्यति यः प्राणिति ययीं शृणोत्युक्तम् अमन्तवो मान्त उपक्षियन्ति श्रुधि श्रुतश्रद्धिवन्ते वदामि.
The meaning of this verse is as follows. The being who feeds himself, who sees, who hears what is told and who sustains life, only owes it to my grace and powers. One who fails to perceive me as the guardian of sensory organs and life force lives a dissipated life. O glorious friend, listen to me. I am telling you about the supreme knowledge which can be gained through loving eagerness. The Devi Kavajam. It comprises 61 slokas. It was recited by Lord Brahma to sage Markandeya. In this prayer, Lord Brahma praises Goddess Durga as 9 different forms of the Divine Mother. The Kavacham, which means armor, protects the reader in all parts of his body, in all places and in all difficulties. Every part of the body is mentioned, and Devi, in different forms, is being worshipped. Reciting the Kavacham creates an armor that protects the reader from negative energy. Let us listen to a short extract of the Devi Kavacham and concentrate on the greatness of the Divine Mother. Some of the meanings of the slokas will be displayed in the following slides.
चण्डिकाये ॐ मार्कण्डेय उवाच ऊर्ध्वं ब्रह्माणि मे रक्षे अधस्ताद्वैष्णवी तथा एवं 10 दिशो रक्षे चामुण्डा शववाहना जया मे जाग्रतहस्तातु विजयास्तातु पृष्ठतः अजिता वामपार्श्वे तु दक्षिणे चापराजिता शिखां मे द्योतिनी रक्षेत् उमामूर्ध्नि व्यवस्थिता मालाधरी ललाटे च भ्रुवौ रक्षेद्यशस्विनी त्रिनेत्रा च भ्रुवोर्मध्ये यमघण्टा च नासिके शङ्किनी चक्षुषोर्मध्ये श्रोत्रयोर्द्वारवासिनी
At this stage, a brief summary of the 13 chapters of the Mahatmyam will be given. The recitation of chapter 1 begins with sage Markandeya reciting the tale of how Savarni, the 8th son of Lord Surya, came into being. There was once a king called Surata who ruled over the entire earth. Great misfortune befell the king when he was defeated by his enemies and betrayed by his evil ministers. Bereft of his sovereignty, he left his kingdom and eventually landed up in the ashram of a great Brahmin. In this same ashram, there was also a merchant by the name of Samadhi. Like the king, he too met with great misfortune. Deprived of his property by wicked people and deserted by his wife and children, he took shelter in the same ashram. Both the king and the merchant, although having faced great disappointment, still possessed great attachment to their kingdom and families. They both approached the great Brahmin and asked him why is this, that after such grief there is still much delusion. The sage enlightened them by telling them that all creatures are controlled and deluded by the great power, the Mahamaya of Vishnu, Devi Maya. The sage then begins telling the king and the merchant of the greatness of the mother. He begins by narrating the story of the demons Madhu and Keta. When Mahavishnu was merged in his Yoga Nidra during the time of the Great Dissolution, there arose 2 great demons called Madhu and Keta from the dirt of Vishnu's ears. They ran towards Brahma, who was just projected out from the great lotus of Vishnu's navel and came to devour him. Brahma saw that Vishnu was asleep and that there was none to help him in such a danger. In order to wake up Mahavishnu from his sleep, Brahma prayed to Adimaya, the support of the universe, the supreme goddess of the worlds, the creatress, the preserver, and the destroyer of everything. Lord Brahma said, O Devi, thou art Prakriti with 3 gunas. Thou art prosperity. Thou art peace and mercy. Thou art with countless weapons. Thou art beautiful and dreadful. Thou art greater than the greatest, O Devi. Whatever there is here is thyself. What more can I say? Vishnu would have helped me. He would have saved me, but he is asleep. Kindly wake him up and delude these asuras, for I am in danger of life. The sage said, thus praised, the great Maya entered the body of Vishnu from all quarters. She opened his eyes, opened his mind, opened his hands, and opened every limb, part by part. The great Lord of the worlds stood up with inexpressible grandeur, with all his powerful weapons. He saw 2 formidable demons in front, who were of tremendous power, who were extremely wicked in nature. They were trying to eat up Brahma completely. Lord Hari fought with them for 5,000 years. Mahamaya began to delude these 2 demons through her power. In their ignorance, they asked Bhagavan Vishnu, Hari, what boon do you want? Ask from us. The Lord said, become you both my victims immediately. The Rishi said, seeing that there was no place where there was no water, the demon said, yes, you can kill us where there is no water. Vishnu kept them both on his thighs, where there was no water, and chopped off both of their heads with his dreadful Sudarshan Chakra. O King, thus a story of how Maya was born for the first time. Hear of a great story still more. Chapter 2, 3 and 4 describes the great war between the Asuras and the Devas and the manifestation of the Mother to alleviate the world of this evil. A short video clip provides a summary of these 3 chapters.
The story of Goddess Durga. Once upon a time, there was a tyrant called Mahishasur. He was part demon and part buffalo. Mahishasur meditated for thousands of years so he could please Lord Brahma and in return be blessed with immortality and power. After much penance, his plan worked. Lord Brahma came to him and said, I am very pleased with your devotion. Ask me any boon that you desire. Without batting an eyelid, the arrogant Mahishasur said, Lord, I don't want any man or god to be able to kill me. Brahma raised his hand in blessing and said, Tathastu, so be it, my child. A twinkle in Brahma's eyes gave away the fact that maybe Mahishasur had left a loophole while seeking his blessing. Time would tell. Armed with this boon, Mahishasur considered himself immortal, as no man or god could lay hands on him. In his rage and pride, he practically destroyed the earth. The lands were soon covered in darkness, and his massacres were widespread. Not only that, he chased away the gods out of heaven. Scared, the gods went running to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva and narrated their misfortune. The lords Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva were hopping mad. They conferred for a moment, and then they held each other and started to radiate a blinding light, a light never seen before. Out of this beautiful light was born the 10-armed goddess Durga, the embodiment of Adi Shakti. One by one, the gods approached her and gifted her a dazzling array of weapons. The mighty Sudarshan Chakra was given to her by Lord Vishnu. She got a kamandal or pitcher from Lord Brahma. She got a quiver full of arrows from Lord Varuna, the god of the sea. Lord Yama, the god of death, gave her a powerful scepter. Lord Indra, a thunderbolt to rattle the earth. Lord Vishwakarma, a menacing axe. Kal, or time, gave her a sharp sword. Airavata, Indra's white elephant, gave goddess Durga a bell. Its noise helped her confuse the demons. Lord Shiva gave her a dangerous trident. The mighty Himalayas give goddess Durga a lion to ride upon. Armed with 10 weapons, gifted to her by the gods, one for each arm, she looked ready to show Mahishasura who the boss was and went into battle with him. Durga battled Mahishasura for 10 whole days. On the 10th day, she managed to chop off his head with her trident. At last, the balance of life was restored. To celebrate this victory, we perform Durga Puja every year. Durga Puja is a 10-day carnival in Bengal. This day is also called Dashera, and we celebrate Lord Ram killing Ravan too.
Chapter 5 and 6. Once again, the Asuras overpowered the Devas and took over the 3 worlds and began causing great turmoil. Shumba and Nishumba, 2 demon brothers, obtained boons from Lord Brahma and became extremely powerful. Together with their Asura army, they wreaked havoc everywhere. Once again, the Devas prayed to the Divine Mother for her protection. Out of Mother Parvati's body emerged the beautiful form of Mother Durga. As she came out of the kosha, or body of Mother Parvati, she has been called Kaushiki. The bodyguards of the evil Shumba and Nishumba, called Chanda and Munda, were passing by at the time of Mother Durga's formation. On seeing the divine beauty of Ma Durga, they quickly ran to their masters and said, "All your wealth is nothing, your glory is nothing, your kingdom is nothing, your pride is nothing. She is more than all this. Go there and bring her. She is real wealth. She is a gem among celestial women." Having heard this, the brothers immediately sent their messenger to entice the Devi to become the queen of Shumba. The ambassador made haste towards the residence of that celestial woman in the Himalayas with great excitement and anxiety, and seeing her squatting in the Himalayan woods, addressed her thus in sweet words, "O Devi, Shumba, the lord of the Asuras, is the lord of the 3 worlds. I am his ambassador, sent by him to you. He has sent you this message through me. All these 3 worlds are mine. I have subdued the gods. I am enjoying all their sacrificial offerings. All the wealth of these worlds is mine. I am the Indra of all. I have vanquished the lord of the oceans and have snatched away his wealth. Whatever wealth there is among Gandharvas, Devas, Nagas, Siddhas, Charanas, all are with me. They are mine. I believe you are the most beautiful of all celestial women. Please come to me, for I am the Lord of all wealth, all prosperity. You may marry either myself or my brother Nishumba, who is equally wealthy and powerful. You will then attain the lordship of all these worlds. Think over and tell me quickly." Hearing these words of the messenger, the universal mother, the support of all worlds, the blessed divine Devi told the ambassador in these curt and deep meaning words with a slight smile, "Yes, you are telling the truth. There is no doubt in this. Shumba is a lord of the three worlds, and Nishumba is equal to him. But what to do? Through ignorance I have taken a vow. How can I override it? Whoever conquers me in battle, whoever subdues my pride, whoever is a match for me in power, he should become my husband. Let therefore Shumba or Nishumba come here and subdue me, and then very easily obtain my hand." The messenger said, "Oh silly girl, you are mistaken. Who in all these worlds is bold enough to face the terrible Shumba or Nishumba? All the countless devas and asuras have been crushed by the power of Shumba and Nishumba. And what are you, a single powerless young woman? When the terrible Indra was humiliated in battle, what are you, an inexperienced girl? Come with me to the palace of Shumba and Nishumba. Otherwise, you will shortly witness yourself being dragged by the force of your bundle of hairs, like a pitiable victim." The Devi said, "I know, I agree that Shumba and Nishumba are powerful, but I cannot help it. I have taken an unwise vow long ago. I have now to act according to it. Please go back and tell them the fact. Let them do what they like." Death of Dhumralochana. The Asura brothers were deeply angered by the mother's response. They ordered their commander, Dhumralochana, to go and seize the Devi and drag her by a hair back to their feet. The commander, with a well-armed army of 60,000 Asuras, set out to capture the mother. Dhumralochana ordered the mother once again to relent and fall at the feet of Shumba. But the mother said, "If you are sent by the king to drag me by force, then what more can I do?" Hearing this, Dhumralochana ran towards her in a great fury. The divine Devi produced a sound of hum from inside her, and Dhumralochana was reduced to ashes in no time. She poured a rain of arrows on the Asura army, and her lion fell on them like a burning fire on a dried forest. In a moment, there was not a single Asura to be seen in the whole army. When news of this reached Shumba, his anger knew no bounds. He then ordered his faithful colleagues, Chanda and Munda, to either bring the Devi to him or kill her in battle. Chapter 7 and 8. After the death of Dhumralochana, Chanda and Munda set forth to the battlefield. Seeing the mother seated on a lion, smiling, Chanda and Munda, with the army, began attacking the Devi from all sides. This infuriated Ma Ambika, who turned black like ink. From her forehead emerged the fearful form of Mother Kali. Ma Kali destroyed the Asuras by the thousands. Some she ate, others were killed with her weapons, and some were destroyed by her bare hands. Seeing the Devi destroying his army, the angered Chanda and Munda rushed to destroy the mother. In a flash, Mother Kali grabbed the head of Chanda and severed it with her sword. Mother Kali then chopped off Munda's head. On killing Chanda and Munda, the Devi became known as Chamundi. Seeing that the Divine Mother remained undefeated, the angered Shumba ordered reinforcements. An army of millions of Asuras gathered to attack the mother. Seeing such a large army approaching, the powerful forces of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva entered the body of Devi. As the force of Brahma, Durga came with a kamandalu riding a swan. As the force of Shiva, she came riding a bull with a trident. These Shaktis then emerged from the Devi and began attacking the Asuras. A formidable warrior called Raktabij came forth with great arrogance and fury. From every drop of blood that fell from his body, there came out a Rakshas equal to him in power and valor. Raktabij then fell upon the mother and attacked her with his deadly astras and weapons. Each and every time the Devi injured Raktabij, more asuras emerged when his blood fell to the ground. The Devi then instructed Mother Kali to drink the blood of these asuras the moment she destroyed them. The Devi then killed Raktabij with a chakra, while Mother Kali drank all of his blood. Thus, another demon met his end at the hands of the Divine Mother. Chapter 9 and 10. These chapters describe the death of Shumba and Nishumba at the hands of the Divine Mother. Chapter 11. On seeing the evil asuras destroyed, the Devas began to extol the virtues of the Devi. The Mother assures the Devas that she will always manifest to destroy evil and unrighteous forces. Chapter 12. In this chapter, the Devi continues to give her assurance to her devotees. She said, "Whoever sings of my praise with these prayers, I shall look to his welfare and raise him from all miseries. Whoever sings my glories of destroying Madhu and Ketab, Shumba and Nishumba, whoever hears these stories, full of my divine glory, to them there will not be any trouble." On saying this, the Devi then immediately vanishes. Chapter 13. The sage then told the king and the merchant, "Thus I have recounted to you the entire story of the glories of Devi. She is Vidya and also Avidya. By her only, you and the merchant are deluded and many others also. Take refuge in Devi Maya. She is a giver of pleasure and moksha to her devotees at the same time." Hearing this, both the king and the merchant retreated to the forest to perform rigorous penance. After 3 years, the Divine Mother was pleased with their penance and appeared before them, granting them each a boon. The king wished to regain his kingdom and conquer his enemies. Devi granted his wish and also said that after his death, he will be born as Surya's 8th son, Savarni. The merchant asked for nothing else but wisdom, which Devi granted. The mother then vanished. Thus is the glorious story of Devi Durga, the Mahamaya, the great mother of the universe. Words of wisdom from Sri Gurudev. Navaratri is the most auspicious time in the year for mother worship. Read the Devi Mahatmyam. Do japa of the mantra of Devi. Perform worship with purity, sincerity, and devotion. Pray to her fervently. She will be easily pleased. Do not ask her, like the king, for petty worldly things. Pray for moksha or final liberation like the merchant. She is ever ready to rush to you. The Shama Prarthana is a concluding prayer of this observance. It is a prayer to ask Mata for forgiveness for any wrongdoing in the performance of this offering. An extract of this prayer, sung by Sadhana Sargam, will be played to conclude this presentation. Information for this presentation was obtained from Sri Gurudev's book, Devi Mahatmyam.
Avahanam na janami tavarchanam pujanchaiva na janami क्षम्यतां परमेश्वर अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष परमेश्वर सहस्राणि क्रियन्ते अहर्निशं मया दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व परमेश्वर। गतं पापं गतं दुःखं गतं दारिद्र्यमेव च आगता सुखसमृद्धिः पुण्यं च तव दर्शनात्। मन्त्रहीनं क्रियाहीनं भक्तिहीनं सुरेश्वर। यत्पूजितं मया देव परिपूर्णं तदस्तु मे।
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Swami Shivananda on Hinduism. Sri N. Anantanarayanan, in the preface to his book From Man to God Man, says, Sri Swami Shivananda blasted all superstitions about God and religion. In equal measure, he exploded old fairy tales about yoga and yogis. By teaching and by personal example, he made it plain that there is no easy road to moksha or liberation, no shortcut to God. The laborious way was the only way. It was the way of service and love, of abstraction and meditation, of dispassion and discrimination. Sri Swami Shivananda has, through his lucid and enigmatic literary style, given freshness to Hinduism, ideal for the modern man. Sri Swami Shivananda was of the view that Hinduism does not force its teachings upon anyone. It allows a person to think and reason for himself. Our great and wise rishis knew that our tastes, capacities, and ways of life differ. Hence, they devised a different method of worshipping God to suit the different tastes and temperaments. For these reasons, says the Master, Hinduism stood firm and strong through the ages, and today it is stronger than ever. In his message on the glory of Hinduism, the Master said, Hinduism is a religion of the Hindus and is the oldest of all living religions. Hinduism is not a man-made religion and was not founded by any single saint or rishi. It is not based on a set of dogmas preached by a particular set of teachers, nor was it started as a system like Islam and Christianity. It is the product of the seers of the sacred Vedas, developed from age to age by the teachings of incarnations, seers, the Hindu scriptures, and its epics. Hinduism will exist as long as the world lasts. There is a peculiar, mysterious spiritual force that is ingrained in the heart of Hinduism. It is not based on a set of dogmas preached by a particular set of teachers. It is free from religious fanaticism. The Master believed that Hinduism stands unrivaled in beauty, grandeur, and depth of its philosophy, and that its ethical teachings are sublime, soul-stirring, and lofty. It is highly flexible and adaptable to every human need. It is a perfect religion by itself and is not in need of anything from any other religion. The Master says that no other religion has produced so many saints, great patriots, mighty warriors, and pure women, as in the case of Hinduism. The Master attested that the more one knows of the great Hindu religion, the more one will honor it, love it, and feel proud of it. The glorious lives of Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Bhishma, Harishchandra, Lakshmana, Mother Sita, Nala, Bharata, Sri Hanuman, Savitri, Damayanti, Arjuna, Yudhishthira, and Radha provide spiritual inspiration and inspire people even today to lead a higher spiritual life. The Master's clarion call to Hindus is, become true Hindus. Let the flame of true love fire your soul. Stand up, gird up your loins. The hostile forces are ready to absorb you. Strengthen yourself. Unite. He advises us as follows. Chant the divine name in the temple, at home, at your workplace, while driving, and at all times. O man, take refuge in the divine name. God and his name are inseparable. Sing the Lord's name incessantly. Remember the name of the Lord with every incoming and outgoing breath. In this age, repetition of the divine name is the easiest, quickest, safest, and shortest way to reach God and attain immortality and perennial joy. Glory to the Lord, glory to his name, glory to Hinduism. In the book From Man to God-Man, Sri N. Anantanarayanan states, if Westerners tried to evaluate the Master in a scientific manner, the Master too analyzed conditions in the West minutely. Summing up his assessment in one sentence in the book, Voice of the Himalayas, he said, were Christ to return to earth today, he would weep over London, New York, and Moscow. Where did these mistakes lie? What was the root cause of the problems of the modern West? The fundamental error of the West, he realized, lay in its very conception of man. To the Westerner, man is merely a physical creature endowed with a mind and possessing a soul, whereas to the Hindu, man is essentially the soul expressing itself through mind, which has the body as its counterpart to function on the spiritual plane. In commenting on the distinguishing features of Hinduism, Sri Swami Shivananda, in his book All About Hinduism, states, Hinduism, unlike other religions, does not dogmatically assert that the final emancipation is possible only through its means and not through any other. It is only a means to an end, and all means which will ultimately lead to the end are equally approved. In emphasizing the practical nature of Hinduism, Sri Swami Shivananda, in his book All About Hinduism, says, Hinduism provides spiritual food and yoga sadhana for all sorts of people to suit their temperaments, capacities, tastes, stages of spiritual development, and conditions of life. It prescribes yoga sadhana even for a scavenger or a cobbler to attain God realization while doing his ordinary avocation in the world. Hindu yoga and Vedanta teachers lay great stress on self-restraint, tapas, renunciation, and practical sadhana, which is best calculated to control the mind and the senses and unfold the divinity or attain self-realization. Hinduism is not a religion of mere theories. It is eminently practical. In no religion will you find such a variety of practical yoga practiced and such sublime unique philosophy expounded. That is the reason why India is the only glorious land of sages, rishis, yogins, and saints. The Master states that the philosophy of Hinduism is not armchair philosophy, and that it is not meant for intellectual curiosity and vain discussion. Hindu philosophy is a way of life. The philosopher of Hinduism seriously reflects after hearing the Shrutis, does Atman Vichara, constantly meditates, and then attains self-realization O Atma Sakshatkara. Moksha is his goal. He attempts to attain Jivan Mukti now and here. Swami Shivananda's writings on Hinduism stand out as an oasis for thirsting humanity. He contributed to Hinduism through his practical life of renunciation, love, and service to humanity. Some titles on Hinduism by Sri Swami Shivananda include All About Hinduism, Hindu Fasts and Festivals, Practice of Karma Yoga, Lord Shiva and His Worship, What Becomes of the Soul After Death, Bliss Divine, a book of spiritual essays on the lofty purpose of human life, Shivananda's Gospel of Divine Life, Lord Shanmuga and His Worship, topics ranging from Vedic science, health and diet, education, mind and its mysteries, yoga, commentaries on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and a host of moral, civic, cultural, and topics on Hinduism. Swami Shivananda, one of the strongest proponents of Hinduism in the 20th century, was fearless in his views on Hinduism. He defended the path of Dharma, truth, justice, and the lofty teachings of Hinduism with courage and conviction. His contributions to Hinduism in South Africa and the world have made him a prince among men and a jewel among saints, locally and internationally. His views and deep love for Hinduism are captured in the following poem, an apt testimony to this God-man. Power of Hindu Dharma, Sri Swami Shivananda. The culture of Hinduism prevails. Nothing can shake its greatness and root. Hinduism is not a man-made religion. It was not founded by any single person, like Islam and Christianity. It is a product of the seers of the Vedas. It was developed from age to age by the teachings of avatars, rishis, Vedas, the Upanishads, the Gita, and the Itihasas. It will exist as long as the world lasts. There is a peculiar, mysterious spiritual force that is ingrained in the heart of every Hindu. A Hindu will give up his life, but he will not give up his principles and dharma. He won't be tempted by women or wealth for conversion. He would rather prefer death than conversion. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Hari Om, dear camp participants. Thank you for tuning into our Yoga Camp online lessons. Please note that satsang will commence at 11 a.m. and a WhatsApp link will be sent to you shortly. Om.